Hello everyone. In today's video I am going to talk about ELISA. ELISA stands for Enzyme Linked Immunosorbent Assay. It is one of the important methods used in modern clinical laboratories used for the detection of several human diseases, and it is an extremely sensitive immunochemical method used to detect the presence of antigen or antibody in a biological sample. Okay, so by using this method we can detect the presence of either the antigen or an antibody in a biological sample. And this method of ELISA relies on antigen antibody reactions. See, always the antigen and antibody reactions are specific. The antigen always interacts with the antibody if this antibody is specific to this antigen. Based on this antigen antibody interactions, we can easily detect the presence of either antigen or antibody in a biological sample. We are saying that it is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Enzyme linked, that means here we are going to use certain enzymes, and after we treat it with a specific substrate, that enzyme will react with a substrate, giving rise to a colored product. Based on that color we can detect the presence of either the antigen or an antibody. Okay, see here we are saying that, for suppose if we want to detect the presence of antigen, we go with the addition of antibodies. And also here in this technique we use antibodies. See, for example, this is the structure of an antibody, and these antibodies are conjugated with enzyme, right? And we use these enzyme conjugated antibodies as markers in this assay method. That's why we call it as enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. So remember, always the antigen and the antibody interactions are specific. At the same time, always the enzyme and the substrate interactions are specific. See, when this enzyme reacts with the specific substrate, it gives rise to a colored product. Okay, here the reaction is chromogenic. Genic means generation, chromo means color. After the addition of substrate which reacts with this specific enzyme will give rise to a colored product, and based on that color we can detect the presence of antigen or an antibody in a biological sample. What is this antigen and antibody? So you need to know what is this antigen and antibody before we go into this topic. See, here we are saying that we can detect either antigen or antibody. What is this antigen and what is this antibody? See, there are many number of microbes. That could be a bacteria, that could be a fungi, that could be a virus, whatever it could be. Whenever the microbe enters into our body will recognize it as a foreign particle, because that particular pathogen is not related to our body. So whatever the particle that enters from the external source into our body will be recognized as a foreign particle. Okay, see, for example, this is one antigen. Okay, so when this antigen enters into our body, what our body will do? Our immune system will recognize it as a foreign particle and it will start producing specific antibodies. For suppose if this is another antigen, and our body will recognize this antigen and it will start producing specific antibodies. Okay, this is for the better understanding. I am just drawing like this. See, what I mean to say is, whenever the antigen enters into our body will produce specific antibodies that will react with this antigen and neutralize its effect. And moreover, there will be memory cells that will store the information of the pathogen. If that pathogen re-enters into our body, these memory cells will act immediately and they will start producing the antibodies. Initially, for the first time, if the pathogen enters into the body, it will take some time to respond and start producing the antibodies. But when it re-enters into the body, already the memory cells will have an information about that pathogen, because already our body produced antibodies against that pathogen, right? So using that information, whenever the pathogen again enters into our body for the next time, then these memory cells will act immediately and they start producing the antibodies, and those antibodies will neutralize the effect of antigen. Remember, the antigens are the foreign particles, whereas the antibodies, which are produced by our body as a part of immune defense, will be effective against the antigen. And always this antigen and antibody interactions are specific. Based on that concept, this method of ELISA was developed. Moreover, here the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme were used as a marker for the detection of specific antigen or antibody in a biological sample. And we are saying that the antibodies are conjugated with the enzymes, right? So we can use different enzymes like HRP. HRP stands for horseradish peroxidases, and we can also use alkaline phosphatases and also beta galactosidase. These are some of the enzymes that are most commonly used in the method of ELISA. And this ELISA is a plate based assay. So you all know very well about those micro titer plates. See, in MIC I have discussed about 96 well micro titer plate with a U bottom. That is different from this ELISA plate. In this ELISA, mostly we perform this method with a flat bottom micro titer plates that usually contain 96 wells or 384 wells. You can choose any of these plates, and mostly these are available commercially that are pre-coated with the antigen or antibody. You can choose based on your experiment. Coming to the principle of ELISA, I already told you that using this assay method we can easily detect the presence of either antigen or antibody in a sample, right? So the principle of this ELISA is that first we need to immobilize the antigen. Okay, see, I already told you that this is performed in a micro titer plate containing either 96 wells or 384 wells, right? See, if you look into this single well, here the antigen can be immobilized directly, or we can use capture antibodies. These capture antibodies are used to immobilize the target protein. Okay, see, first suppose these are the antibodies. See, what exactly happens here is, first we need to immobilize the target protein. So this is the target protein. Either we can immobilize it directly or we can immobilize it with the help of capture antibodies. So this is the capture antibody. I already told you both the antigen and antibody reactions are specific. So this antibody will react with the antigen only if it is specific. In order to identify a specific antigen, here what we are doing, first we are immobilizing the antigen with the help of the capture antibody, right? So it got attached here. Next, what we are going to do, we have to add another antibody called detection antibody. Okay, so here the antibody is conjugated with the enzyme HRP. Here I already told you in this assay method we are going to use antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme as a marker, right? So after we immobilize the target protein with the capture antibody, again we are going to add antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. So those antibodies we call them as detection antibodies. So here in this reaction we are using two antibodies. One are the capture antibodies and the other one are the detection antibodies. But both these antibodies will be specific for the antigen. Okay, one of the antibodies without the enzyme, that is used to immobilize the target protein, and the other antibody is conjugated with the enzyme. Then in the next step, after you add substrate, most commonly for HRP we use a substrate called TMB. TMB stands for tetramethylbenzidine. Okay, TMB is a substrate for HRP enzyme. HRP stands for horseradish peroxidase. So whenever this HRP enzyme reacts with this TMB substrate, it gives rise to a blue colored product. So once this reaction take place in this well, what happens after you add a substrate and incubate for a certain time period, and this color of the well will be changed to blue color. Based on that color change, you can easily make out whether that particular antigen or antibody is present in the sample or not. If there is no color, means there is no specific reaction between the antigen and antibody. Though you are using the secondary antibodies conjugated with the enzyme, during the process you are going to wash the wells. So during that washing process, what happens is that unbound antigens and antibodies will be washed off. Only those which got interacted with each other, only those which form an antigen antibody complex will be left in the well, and the rest of the unbound antigens and the antibodies will be washed off. This is the principle behind this technique of ELISA. Coming to the types of ELISA, there are different types like indirect ELISA, direct ELISA, competitive ELISA and sandwich ELISA. Let's discuss in detail. Coming to the first type of ELISA, that is indirect ELISA. See, I already told you this assay is performed in a microtiter plate. See, if you look into the well, what exactly happens with the direct ELISA is, here, see, for suppose this is the well, okay. In this well, first we are supposed to coat the antigen. These are the antigens that are coated onto a solid surface of a microtiter plate. And in the next step, we are going to add antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. So these antibodies will go and bind to the antigens if they both are specific to each other. Okay, so then what happens after you add antibodies? So this is the antigen, right? And this is how the antibody will go and bind to it, and this antibody is conjugated with enzyme. So in the next step, what you are going to do, you are going to add substrate that gives rise to a colored product. When will you get the colored product? Only if this antigen and antibody interacts with each other. If, for suppose, this is the antigen already coated onto the solid surface and you have added the antibodies, okay. For suppose if this antibody is not specific to this antigen, then it will not go and bind with the antigen. Then what happens? After you wash the wells, what happens? Those unbound antibodies will be removed. So initially the antigens will be coated onto the wells with the help of coating buffers. Then in the next step, you are going to add antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme, right? So next step, what you are supposed to do, you have to wash the wells in order to remove those unbound antibodies. If the antibodies are bound, then they will not be washed off. Already they reacted with the antigen and they formed an antigen antibody complex. So in the next step, what you are supposed to do, you have to add a substrate. For suppose if this is an HRP enzyme and if you add TMB, what happens? It will give rise to a colored product. So you can easily observe blue color in the well. And this is how you can identify the presence of antigen or antibody with the help of this direct ELISA method. Here we are using only one antibody directly, that is conjugated with the enzyme. So now coming to the indirect ELISA, it is a two-step process. Why? Because here we are using two antibodies, that is, one is the conjugated antibody and the other one is the detection antibody. Okay, here this is the antigen. Okay, so there is an interaction between this antigen and antibody because they both are specific to each other, right? This is the primary antibody. See, after you add primary antibody, it will go and bind with the antigen, right? and then what you are supposed to do, you have to add secondary antibody, right? This secondary antibody is specific to the primary antibody, and this secondary antibody is conjugated with the enzyme. See, you can clearly make out here, this primary antibody got attached to the antigen and this secondary antibody got attached to the primary antibody, and this secondary antibody is conjugated with the enzyme. Okay, when you add a substrate, that will react with this enzyme, giving rise to a colored product. This is how you can detect with the help of indirect ELISA. Coming to the third method of ELISA, that is sandwich ELISA, which is the most commonly used format. Here the name itself suggests that sandwich ELISA. You all know how we prepare a sandwich, right? So it resembles the same. So just look into the picture, you can easily make out what exactly happens with this format of sandwich ELISA. Here this is the capture antibody. The use of capture antibodies is to immobilize the antigen, right? So this is the antigen. And in this format, we generally use two antibodies that are specific for the different epitopes. And generally, we call those antibodies as matched antibody pairs. Here, in this method of ELISA, we use capture antibody. It is used to immobilize the antigen. And we are going to use another antibody that is conjugated with the enzyme. So here this antibody, this is the capture antibody and this is the detection antibody. So we are calling it as a detection antibody. Why? Because this acts as a marker here. So later in the subsequent reactions, what happens? When it reacts with the substrate, it will give rise to a colored product. This is about the sandwich ELISA. Coming to the competitive ELISA, here we are saying it as competitive, right? There will be a competition between two antibodies or two antigens. We can detect either the concentration of antigen or the concentration of antibody can be easily detected with the help of this competitive ELISA. This competitive ELISA is also called as inhibition ELISA or competitive immunoassay. For suppose if we want to detect the concentration of antibody, I'll explain you how to perform this test. The same thing you can go with the detection of concentration of antigen also, if you understand the concept. Okay. For suppose we have a serum, okay, and we need to detect the concentration of antibodies in this sera. Okay, and this sera contains A antibodies. For suppose, okay, these A antibodies are always specific to A antigen, right? Right, always antigen and antibody interactions are specific, right? So this A antibody which is present in the sera of a patient is always specific to A antigen. So for this reason we need A antigens, okay? For suppose these are the antigens, okay, and our intention is to detect the concentration of antibodies that are present in this sera of a patient, and this sera contains A antibodies that are specific to A antigen. Okay, we need this A antigens. Along with the A antigens, we also need anti-A antibodies that are conjugated with enzyme HRP. Hope you are clear. Here we are going to detect the concentration of antibody that is present in the sera. So if that sera contains A antibodies, those A antibodies will be specific to A antigen, right? So we need to have this A antigens, whatever that A antigen could be. For suppose if we want to detect HIV virus, or if we want to detect some other human disease, whatever it could be, here we need to have, for suppose if we take in case of HIV virus, we need those HIV antigens here, right? And we are going to detect the presence of antibodies that are specific to this HIV antigen. Okay, and along with those antigens, we also need anti-A antibodies that are conjugated with the HRP enzyme. These are the detection antibodies. Okay, I already told you this HRP will react with a specific substrate called TMB. tetramethylbenzidine, and it will give rise to a blue colored product, right? Now what we are supposed to do is, so this is the well, okay? What are these? These are antigens, okay? Now what you are supposed to do? You have to add a sample. What is this sample? Sera of a patient containing A antibodies. Okay, now you have added antibodies. Along with this A antibodies, what else do we need to add? We need to add antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme HRP. Okay, so you have coated the antigens, you have added the sample containing the antibodies, and also you have added the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. Okay, these two antibodies will compete with each other to go and bind with the antigen that is coated onto the wells. So which one will win in this competition? See, we are saying it as a competitive ELISA, right? We are using two types of antibodies. One is coated with the enzyme and the other one is without any enzyme, that we directly added the sample and we want to detect whether the antibodies are present in the sample or not. So now here there will be a competition between these two antibodies to go and bind with the antigen that is coated on the wells. So which one will win in this competition? That depends on the concentration of the antibody. If these antibodies that are conjugated with the enzymes are more in number, they may win the race. And if these antibodies which are present in the sample are high in number compared to these antibodies, they may win. That we need to detect. The antibody with higher concentration will win the competition. Okay, if the patient sample have more number of antibodies, they will go and bind with the antigens. If the number of these antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are less in number, if this concentration is more compared to these antibodies, they will go and bind with the antigen and they will win the competition. So we need to detect which concentration is more, whether the antibodies that are present in the sample or whether the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. That we need to find it right now. Okay, now we need to detect which concentration is more, whether the antibodies that are present in the sample are more or whether the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are more. Let's see both the cases. In first case, if you observe, so these are the antigens that are coated onto the wells, right? So we are going to add the sample, that is the sera containing a specific antibody. Along with that, we are going to add antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. Now we are going to see which concentration is more. Okay, see here, the concentration of the antibodies that are present in the sera are more compared to the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme. So these antibodies which are more in number will go and bind with the antigens. When coming to the another condition, where here the concentration of the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are more compared to the antibodies that are present in the sera of a patient. So these enzyme linked antibodies got bound with the antigen. Okay, now what you are going to do, you have to wash the wells to remove these unbound antibodies. Then you are going to add a substrate. Okay, when you add a chromogenic substrate, you will get a colored product. You need to incubate for a certain time period, and after the period of incubation, you are going to stop the reaction with the stop buffers, right? After you stop the reaction, you are going to check the absorbance with the help of a ELISA reader, right? See here, in this case, if you observe this, here when you add the substrate, here these are the antibodies without the enzyme. So though you add substrate, that will not react here to give rise to a colored product, whereas here, so this antigens are bound by an antibody that is linked with the enzyme, right? But here most of the antigens were occupied by these normal antibodies that are present in the sera of a patient, because their concentration is more, right? So at the end you will get a less product, because if you observe here, both of these are the normal antibodies, whereas this is an antibody that is conjugated with the enzyme. So when you add a substrate, it will react with the enzyme and it gives rise to a product, but whereas here there will be no formation of a product. So here there will be a less product formed and less color formed, and if the color is less, you will get a less absorbance here. When it comes to the other condition, that is, if the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are more in concentration compared to the antibodies that are present in the sera of a patient, most of these antigens were occupied by the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme, right? So in the next step, you are going to wash to remove those unbound antibodies. Then what you are supposed to do, you have to add a substrate. When you add a substrate, all these enzyme linked antibodies will react with the substrate and they give rise to a product. So here the product is more compared to this, okay, because the product is less here. Why? Because the concentration of the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are less compared to the antibodies that are present in the sera, whereas here the concentration of the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are more and we get more product, because these enzymes react with the substrate. That is what I said, there will be a competition between these two antibodies to bind to this antigen that is coated onto the wells. So the one which have more concentration is going to bind with the antigen, and based on that color product only we can determine the concentration of whether the antibody that is present in the sera is high or the concentration of the antibodies that are conjugated with the enzyme are high. And once you take the absorbance, you need to plot a graph, standard graph. Okay, so by taking concentration of antibody on x-axis and the absorbance values on the y-axis. So with the help of this standard graph, you can determine the concentration of an antibody. Reverse method is used to determine the concentration of antigen. I already told you how to determine the concentration of antibody, right? So if you reverse the concept, you can detect the concentration of antigen with the help of competitive ELISA. Hope you understood this session, and soon I'll come up with the next session. Thank you.